The epic journey through ancient and mythical China that makes the Forbidden Kingdom so extraordinary required the design and construction of huge and lavish sets that would not only be true to the period, but would also have enough space in which to stage the big action and fight sequences required for the story.
When you go to China and you're going to make a movie there, you usually fly into Beijing or Shanghai or Hong Kong. Those are the three main port of entries.
I have found Hongdian to be an incredible facility. It's a giant lot with giant stages and sets all over the place.
Hongdian was originally farmland, and they built some factories there to make batteries. And I think the people who owned most of the land had gotten quite wealthy. And when Chen Kai-ge was about ready to shoot a movie called The Emperor and the Assassin, starring Gong Li, they convinced him to use Hongdian to build his set, which was the Qin Palace.
They had such great success from that, just kept building. And they built all over the town, and people would come and they realized that they made more money being extras in the movie, and they got some little hotels going. Before you know, they had a lot of hotels going, and then they have hotels for the movie crews. And it developed into this little shooting center.
There's not like one gate and you go in and there it is. There's like 7 or 8 or 10 different gates, because there is the water section, and there is the old tea house section, and there is the brothel set section, and there's the Forbidden City, and there is the Qing Palace, and it's sprawled all over town.
For the most part, the sets that they built there are historical sets from different eras of Chinese history, representing different times and dynasties, the Qin Palace probably being the oldest set.
Hongdian didn't offer itself to the modern world, it offered itself to a time gone by in China. But that was our movie. In our movie, you go to China, you go back in time.
So we used, you know, for the interior of the Jade Warlord Palace, we used a huge set. Of course, we modified it and we made it different, but the bones were there. And same for the big tea house set piece, you know. That is a standing set there.
We couldn't afford to build the sets that we shot in, but they were standing sets, so we could afford to dress them. And so we dressed the sets and were able to accomplish a very big look, in large part because of Hongdian.
The studio's resources were so vast, the filmmakers were even allowed to destroy a standing set.
One of the biggest challenges we had was a scene in which a village is burned. When we'd scouted, we'd found the remains of a set which was used for another shoot. And it was sitting there not being used, and we asked them about it and whether we could purchase it, and they said no problem, and in fact, for the burning village scene, we decided to just burn the village. Now, when it came time to light this thing on fire, we had 100 extras in the set. It was kind of frightening. We had every camera that we had shooting the scene, and we could only shoot it in one take. So literally, you know, they lit a match, threw it on there, and people started running, and we were filming. It was quite a sight.
While Hongdian was ideal for the movie's ancient Chinese locations, things became more challenging when the mostly Chinese art department and crew had to build sets for the modern-day Boston scenes.
Everything's a little different. There's standards, everything. So to make a Western-looking room or a bedroom or this or that, that was probably the biggest challenge, to tell you the truth. They can build a palace like falling off a log, but when it comes to a teenage American boy's apartment, bedroom, that kind of threw everybody for a loop. One of the things I remember is regular Edison plugs we use, they put them all on the wall sideways because it made more sense, it looked better, but that's just because they didn't see them. They didn't know, it's not their fault. I mean, like, you do the same thing. If you had Chinese fixtures, you wouldn't know what to do with them. Had to make garbage cans, literally make garbage cans and build dumpsters. That was kind of a funny thing. You couldn't just call up and say, we need 10 dumpsters down here. They had to go on the internet, find what they look like, get the drawings, and then have a manufacturer make them. Because they don't do trash the same way.
One of the advantages of Hengdian is its campus-like atmosphere, created in part because of its distance from China's biggest cities.
And the whole crew, everybody, goes and stays in a hotel. Everybody comes in, not even the Chinese people. They don't live there. They all just come there.
All the actors living in Hengdian become, everybody together. They have mostly nothing to do but filming.
So, you could be actually living on the floor you worked, and one of your roommates would be somebody you work with, and at night it was like a, college.
Hengdian Studios is still growing and has earned the nickname Chinawood. With increasing numbers of productions working on its sets and stages, they are also attracting tourists who come to see how the movies are made.
Hengdian has the policy of, they welcome you to shoot it there because they have such a big tourism.
And now it's developed into a major tourist attraction with rides and dark rides and log flume rides and all kinds of stuff. They even have the river that they can turn off and on that floods the village, just like they do at Universal.
Attracts the whole country people to go there to see, the exact location that the bigger films are shooting there.
Hengdian proved to be the perfect studio in which to recreate the mythical Chinese world of the Forbidden Kingdom. And the experience the filmmakers had working there shows the huge potential for Hengdian and China's film industry in the future.
They've shot so many big films there that the crews are experienced, know what to do. The production services are great. It's a very film-friendly location.
We had really hard-working, dedicated Chinese crews who I feel fortunate to have worked with. Hengdian was a very good place to work.
I'm very sure that more American films are going there.
But China will become a big player in the movie business as well as they are in everything else because they have labor cost issues that aren't the same as ours.
And the infrastructure to shoot is there. The people there are familiar with films. They understand what they need, and so it made our life, it was very easy to work there.
It's a good place to make a movie.